Here we go. Well, hello, everyone. Happy new week to you. Well, we just want to welcome you to another episode of Reset Mindset Unlocked. I'm one of your hosts, Tracy Powell, and then there's also
Hi everyone, it's Beth Hall.
And we're glad, as we say every week, that we're so glad you guys decided to tune in and listen to us. And we're going to just jump right in today because we have a subject we wanted to deal with. And, we usually talk about the things that happen to women, men, but mostly women, because that's what we deal with, about the different things that we go through, the traumas, the dramas, the things we were born with, and it causes a lot of mental, um, it gives us a lot of mental baggage. That's the way I should say it. So today we're going to deal with the topic of isolation or being alone. And it's funny because isolation is a tricky one. Isolation can be good, but it can also, if you're not careful, turn
Mhm.
into something that's really bad. And so when we say isolation and you say, well, what do you mean by being isolated? It's really kind of simple. Isolation means that you're separated. You're separated from other people, Basically you're by yourself or you withdraw. And it can be from a place or a situation or just people in general. And, and I think most of us tend to think about isolation in the sense of when something traumatic happens to us,
We
we
withdraw.
withdraw. We withdraw. And that can, when you first going through the season, if it's from a traumatic situation, you know, it can also turn into it's a time alone with God. So it can actually be good because when it's trauma, which when I was looking up about isolation, they were saying that trauma is actually a really common cause for people being isolated because in a sense it's like a coping mechanism. So it's like you're learning how to actually wrote this down. Um, what did I say? It's a coping mechanism, and basically, it stops you're withdrawing from other people or a situation because it stops you from having your triggers that will take you into that bad place again or the bad emotions and things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's just meaning being alone. And that could be good to a point, but then we have to be careful because even if we are learning a lesson or God is bringing us closer to Him, we still have to be careful not to be like completely isolated from people because a lot of things, your mind can start playing tricks on you. The main thing is the enemy can make you bitter
Yep.
and let me stop running my mouth for a second and let Beth jump in and then we'll just like, pick it up. But yeah.
No, I was just gonna say about the whole God can put you in isolation,
Mhm.
and the good part about that is because he wants you to get closer to him.
Yes.
And I do agree that, if God is doing that because he's pruning you of, people
Mhm.
who no longer need to be part of your circle.
That's right.
So
Limiting the access.
exactly. So if he's doing that, I say still find a community, but find a
Mhm.
different type of community to be
Right.
around. Don't take his isolation as okay, he means nobody. It
Right.
might just be a different set of people to start associating yourself with.
Hmm. That is definitely
Maybe
true.
if it's a church group, and you've been going to that church fine, but maybe, you know, attend one of their meetings or something, whatever it may be,
Hmm.
or at work,
And it
sometimes.
could, oh,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. No, 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 no. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, but I was just going to say that if it's at work, you want to be careful, because my saying, and Tracy always takes the saying too, and we say it together, but remember, God didn't call a conference call. So if he's pruning you from the people at work, be very careful not to put yourself in a different community at work, like, a
Right.
different department of people or something like that. You
Mm-hmm.
That might be one where I'd say leave it alone. Go to
Yeah.
work and come home, but find people outside of the workplace.
Right. And then even if it's the alone thing, it could just be, keep in mind, it's just temporary. It's not forever, And if you're going to do that, because I think about Paul when who was formerly known as Saul, on
Mm.
the road to Damascus, the Lord got hold of him, blinded that brother, and then he knew God wanted him. So even though the other apostles had been doing their thing for a while, they knew what Jesus wanted, he didn't confer with them. He
Right.
went to Arabia for almost 3 years,
Mhm.
and it was just him and the Lord, like you said, preparing. He had a lot to prune off old Paul Saul, now known as Paul, because he'd fight in a minute. He still had a little of that down in him because it came up when they arrested Jesus. He cut
Yeah,
the soldier's ear off. So God had to take him to the side, Jesus, and do some little work. I mean, God had to do some work on him, but he kept an open mind. He knew eventually he
yeah,
was going to have to join back with the rest of the group. So isolation can be good, but you have to keep in mind that, you know, you can't, even if it, especially if it's from trauma or something, you can't hold things in your heart. You're going to have to let go. And that's part of pruning too. You might not think you need to, but you just have to let go of some things, because if not, it can turn into bitterness. And it's funny because I had the other night in class, it's a global class, and they wanted us to start exercising our gift. So they broke us off into groups in different chat rooms. And where it was like all these hundred of people, it was like four of us in a group. And you didn't know who you were with.
right.
So I had a woman from the UK, and then there was a couple other ladies, two other ladies, they were from the States here. And it was so funny. It was like we were all kind of like staring at each other at first. So I'm that type. I have to like break the ice. And I was like, hey, I know y'all don't know me, but I'm just gonna say I was a little nervous to do this tonight. And I said, I'm not new to the whole, it was a ministry thing. I said, but to step off into this gift after a lot of years is kind of nerve-wracking for me. And it
Sure.
was like it took the weight off of
Wait.
everybody. They were like, because they were like saying the same thing. And then to find out they were all, especially this one lady, had all gone through a similar thing where
Mm.
they had been in isolation. They thought they were the only one. And then they had to make themselves like get involved in what we were doing. And just to find out, the four of us in the same group ended up going through some of the same thing. And it's like,
Right.
wow, you think you're the only person experiencing something, but there's people around the world going through the exact same thing. No matter how wild you think your situation is,
Yep.
somebody else is going through it. But if you never get outside of your comfort zone, you won't meet those people, so you can be like, there is hope, these people are
Right.
still moving on. They're going. So, like, you can't become bitter and just stay. It's good to, like, let God work on us and all that. But at some point, we have to be willing to come out of our shell and not just be by ourselves. Because I was looking at the different types of isolation, and they said like there was four types of loneliness that falls up under that, and they were talking about emotional loneliness, social, situational, and chronic. And chronic, I guess, being the worst, because
Right.
I didn't know there was so many different types of loneliness. I just thought loneliness was loneliness, but it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's a lot to that. Yeah, so that was one thing, is like bitterness, and then fear is another thing that creeps in when you're by yourself. Because if you're away for so long, you start getting nervous about doing things, And God didn't give us the spirit of fear, but I mean, it's natural for us to have some I want to say reservations because I don't like
Right.
that word.
Yeah.
But you don't want to get into like extreme anxiety and being apprehensive and worried about stuff when you really don't have to go there. But if you're just by yourself and you're thinking this, a good example, Elijah, when
Mm-hmm.
Elijah wasn't a scary man. He took care of Ahab and the false prophets and all that. And Jezebel got on his trail.
Right.
Then he became a little on the, I won't say fearful side, so much so that he was like, God, I don't want her to take me out, gonna kill me. He was up on the tree. Like, and he
It's just
he prayed and went to
easier. Just
sleep.
take me.
Just take me out. This too much. Angel came to him, was like, wake up. You all right. You're not the only prophet left. We got about 700 more left, but
Right?
because of the extremeness of what he was going through,
Mm-hmm.
he felt like he was the only one. And
Yeah.
I'm sure we all can relate to that.
And we all can relate to, you know, when we isolate ourselves, speaking from the corporate side, so
Hmm.
many of us have been laid off. So many of us have had been terminated from their jobs. So many, I mean, I could go on, about the corporate setting. And we feel like when it happens to us, it's us.
Hmm.
And then
Taking it
you
personally.
you take on, which you shouldn't, but it feels like it just happens automatically. You take on like a part of shame, like
Hmm.
I did something wrong. I've destroyed whatever, like my family thinks I'm this and now I'm not working or I just got laid off. And it's like you
Right.
don't want to tell anybody because you're afraid of what someone's going to say to you.
Yeah.
And you automatically put shame on the being laid off, shame on being terminated, shame on whatever, happens at the job,
Hmm.
that you go into hiding.
Yeah. And that's something that it's easy to do without know you're doing it,
Right.
you know,
Yes.
because it's like you're defending, you're like just trying to protect yourself and not realizing that these barricades are being put up that might be a little bit extreme. So, but I mean, like you said, that is very common, but yet we think it's uncommon
Yep.
because a lot of us define ourselves by what we do, or we're proud that we bring in the
Or the
income and
title.
or the title. Yep. And so that's why it's important to have at least, I'd say, one person or two that you can talk to, and even
Hmm.
if it means therapy, hey, do whatever you need
Right.
so that you don't end up, because we can do a lot of self-talk if there's no one there to be like, hey, snap out of that. But so might need to have somebody physically go get somebody to tell you it's going to be okay. So
And let me tell you, people, I have called Tracy on several occasions, and she is the person I am going to pick up,
oh Lord,
and we ride in, okay?
we're doing a drive now. When we say drive by, we talking about, I'm gonna say it this way: we doing a roll up.
Right. We're going to put the window down, we're going to have shades on, and we're just going to get the look and keep on riding.
Keep on riding. There you go. It's like, yeah, sometimes we have to make ourselves, we see ourselves as these little, uh, well, I don't know about Beth. Beth do see us in the car whenever we like feeling upset with somebody, or somebody in the corporate world and mess with my girl. I'm like, I got my hoops on. I'm taking them off. We get in the hoopty and we roll. Y'all, we really don't do that, but that's in our mind. We think we bad like that.
Exactly. That
Yeah,
we're
but
really, or that the car bounces or anything like
yes,
that. So
yes, yes, yes. We got our hoopties. But yeah, but you have to laugh and find people to talk to, because if not, isolation, depending on what took you there, can be a monster, and we don't want it to let it get the best of us. I just really didn't know it was so much to the whole situation of being isolated, but that's just something I felt like wanted to just talk, kind of touch on tonight, because I'm sure there are many people out there. And then especially like I think it also has a lot, the way you deal with isolation also has a lot to do with like your personality in general. Like if you're a bubbly, typically if everything's okay and you're that bubbly outgoing person, you could probably deal with it better than somebody who's already struggling with
Right.
self-confidence and speaking out or being heard, a person who shrieks back. It's going to be harder on that person because they're already having identity issues.
Yeah.
And then you put something like that that makes you go into hiding. It's harder. So,
Yeah.
that's why it's important to understand that if you're prone to have that type of a personality where you really don't speak up for yourself and you kind of stay in the background, it's even more important for you to find a sounding board or a therapist
Yes.
or somebody, so you don't, get into that situation or be prone to go into isolation, because it's easy to do. And that's on with any of us on the best of days.
Yeah.
It just takes the right situation, and you got to know how to deal with it.
And I think especially now more than ever,
Hmm.
with what's going on in the world, it's probably more important to find or have 1 to 2 people that you can call, even if it's in the middle of the night. Yes, you're waking them up, but they would take that call and be like, "What's wrong? What's the matter?" And you might
Hmm.
just need to just talk,
Yeah.
like, "I can't sleep. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep you up, but can I just tell you X, Y, and Z, whatever the
Right.
situation is?" And
Yeah.
that might be you just getting whatever that is off your chest, and then that person would listen, and then hopefully, you know maybe you laugh it out at the end.
Hmm.
Maybe that person, whatever it is, says, "Oh, but think about it, when we're old and gray, and we're
Yeah.
gonna turn around and look at this and laugh about it." I don't
Laugh
know.
about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And even if it's a situation where maybe, okay, because let's just be real, we're in the real world, so different things happen. Maybe it is something that you did that, like Beth said, even shame comes in.
Yeah.
Don't just block yourself off. you know like she said, the people will actually understand
Yeah.
a lot more than you think they do. Nothing is that bad. I mean, because if my whole thing is, if somebody's looking down on you, really they can't, because if they think they're perfect when they walked in the room, it just became imperfect. Because
Hmm.
folks got skeletons, because you open up the closet, bones start flying everywhere. So we should not be judging
Duck.
anyone. We should not. So don't think anything is too bad where you can't actually speak to someone about it. So maybe it's a local minister or something. Get your best friend, if they got your back like that. Yes. Talk, therapist, all for it. Just don't sit by yourself, because mine like to really go places when we're sitting alone. And it's a lot of times this stuff has just been exaggerated way beyond what it should be. So,
Right.
and you need
And
you
then
just need that voice of reason to help you come back.
exactly. And then also too, um, whatever it is, you may be replaying like from a childhood experience
Mm-hmm.
leading into whatever that is going on. So definitely, like Tracy said, find a minister to talk to. They don't know you, you don't know them, so you might feel more compelled to just spill the beans.
Yeah.
Or
Sometimes
get
strangers
a
can be your best
therapist.
friends, because that has literally happened to me several times. People I met And it was just like, woo, you just became my best buddy, said everything, and I haven't seen him since.
Right.
It's just like sometimes it's like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's very important not to make yourself just be by yourself all the time.
Right.
Everybody needs somebody. And that
Exactly.
was just really kind of like in my spirit, don't pull yourself off and think that whatever it is you're going through is the worst thing in the world and nobody knows how you feel. And because guarantee you, we've all been there, we all feel that. But once you break, you finally take that, get the courage, as I should say, to make
Yeah.
that first step and you talk to someone, you find out like, dang, I'm not going through this alone. There are other
Mm-hmm.
people out here. So whoever out there needed to hear this tonight, we just wanted you to know, don't keep yourself in a little box. Come on outside. There are people there that understand, don't shut yourself off. You'll get through it. This too shall pass, as they say. So, did you have anything else you wanted to say about it?
No, I'm kind of with you. I feel like somebody needed to hear this. So
Yeah.
hopefully, if you're not the person, but you know somebody, definitely make sure
Mm-hmm.
that they listen to this.
Yes. And if it is that you do need it, because we all have that time that we do need to be alone, work on it. Work on your triggers. Work on the things, find out what is it that's stressing me out? What is it that makes me go off? And deal with it. If it's forgiveness you need to do, forgive, because it's not people, we tend to think forgiveness is about the other person, and it's not. Forgiveness is for us. Because if we forgive, the Bible says if we don't forgive, God won't forgive us. But also, it sets you free, because half the time people we angry with, they going on doing whatever they want to do. They ain't thinking twice about it. It's like you sitting up there holding a grudge against somebody and they're like, you still mad about that? So you got to learn to let go. So, whatever, while you're in that long time, work on all that and then bring yourself back out. It's okay. Life gets better. So we just wanted you to know that even though you might be going through a little moment, don't stay hidden. Come on out. People love you. You just got to talk, share, find someone, go out, maybe just have a heart to heart over some lunch or whatever, and you'll
Yeah.
feel a lot better. So we don't know who needed to hear that, but whatever it is you're dealing with, it's not the end of the world. This too shall pass. You just got to get through it and don't beat up on yourself. And with that being said, that's really all we have for this week. We just want you guys to know we love you and we hope this helps somebody. And we'll see you next week, or you'll hear us next week. So you all be blessed and thank you again for tuning in. And I just want to say, did I mention last week about Singapore? We
I
had
think you
someone.
did.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I try to keep track of the new countries that come in. So y'all keep on time chiming in. We love to hear from you no matter where you are. And y'all be blessed and have a great week. Bye.
Bye for now.